Question number 2, Ron Mark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My question is to the Minister of Defence and asks, does he believe that our Navy is sufficiently resourced to protect our fisheries from foreign poachers? If so, why?
Mr. Speaker.
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Defence, yes, because the Navy is meeting the patrol days that are set by the agencies such as Ministry for Primary Industries and Customs. As reported in last year's annual report, 90% of pre-planned patrols were achieved and 100% of response tasks were undertaken.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Well, what assurances, to the Minister, what assurances can he give New Zealanders that our Navy is sufficiently crewed and resourced to patrol our fisheries properly, when in 2015 our entire Navy spent only 33 days at sea on fisheries patrol, and so far 2016 they've only spent 9 days? Is that what was planned?
Order. That's enough of a question. The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
Mr. Speaker, on behalf of the Minister of Defence, the 33 days that Mr. Mark refers to actually only refers to MPI tasking, so he's not giving a full picture of what was going on. In actual fact, the Navy does much more patrolling than that in the EEZ. And so far this calendar year, all ships have actually, contrary to what he's just asserted, completed 137 days within the EEZ, and last year spent actually 639 days in the EEZ. So actually, what he's saying is incorrect completely.
Point of order.
Point of order, Ron Mark.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Then I seek the leave to table the answers from the Minister's office that gave us the exact information that we're iterating.
The member will resume his seat. Those answers are published. They're available to all members.
Speaker.
Point of order, Ron Mark, and it better be a fresh point of order if he wants to save it.
Well, this is one about protecting MPs from what are considered to be defamatory, inflammatory statements from...
Order. The member will resume his seat. He sought leave to table answers to written questions. They are published and are available. If the member feels this has been misled in some way in the answer, then there's another appropriate course of action, and I suggest he becomes more familiar with Speaker's rulings and standing orders. Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
To the Minister, how can our fisheries be adequately protected from foreign poachers raping and pillaging them when the Navy's entire fisheries patrol have dropped from 6 months, from his own answers, from 6 months in 2013 to only 1 month in 2015?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
That's absolutely totally incorrect. As I've just said, all ships spent 639 days in the EEZ last year. So I'm actually surprised with Mr Mark's defence experience as an army cook. He would have been better asking about Southern DHB.
Order. 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 Tracy Martin, point of order.
Mr Speaker, that is a completely inappropriate answer with a completely inappropriate attack on a Member of Parliament asking a reasonable question.
Order. Member. As soon as the Minister transgressed the last part of his answer, I rose immediately and ceased the answer. I can't act until those comments were made. But when I consider the tone of the question and the answers that have previously been given to the member, it's clear there's a substantial difference in the figures being supplied by the member and by the Minister. I can't stop that.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Well, how does the Minister explain providing answers to written questions, these ones here, Minister, which say one story, Mr Speaker, and now he trots along to the House and tells everyone that his original question was a lie?
Questions must be shorter.
Okay.
Right,
on behalf of the Minister, well, I hope Mr Mark could read his recipe book better than he does the answer to the written questions, but I can only go on the answers supplied by the Ministry of Defence.
Supplementary. Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
It must be an early Christmas. Is the Minister saying in his statements to the public that our inshore patrol vessels, which he now says he's going to sell, aren't up to the job, something that's disputed by those naval staff who designed them? And if he's saying that, why is it then that their sister ship Hawea...
Order. The questions are too long. That is now leading to a second supplementary question. The first question can be answered by the Honourable. Point of order, Ron Mark.
Mr. Speaker, why are you being harder on me today than you are on other people?
Member is very lucky if he's going to continue in the chamber the way he's behaving. The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman can answer the first question.
On behalf of the Minister of Defence, no, I'm not saying that.
Point of supplementary.
Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
Noting his statements to the public today, will he not admit that the Navy is under-resourced and that currently we have 2 of the IPVs mothballed and that they won't be sailing anywhere because we don't have the naval staff to crew them?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
On behalf of the Minister of Defence, no.
Supplementary question, the Honourable Phil Goff.
Well, Mr Mayor.
Is the Defence Force correct when it has told the Select Committee every year since 2012, the year in which the Navy lost a quarter of their complement, that the reason that the IPVs are not being put to sea is because of skill and staff shortages?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan
Mr Speaker,
Coleman.
I'd have to go back and check the transcript of that Select Committee because I've found from experience it's always different.
Order, we don't need that part.
Point of order, Mr Speaker.
A point of order.
I seek the leave to table the transcripts of the financial review for the Select Committee in 2012, 13 and 14, which say just that.
No, again, the standing orders were modified 2 years ago, at the last revision, and those papers are now available to all members. Supplementary question, Ron Mark.
To the Minister, what is the point of announcing to the United Nations and the people of New Zealand that this government intends establishing a new marine reserve in the Kermadec when the fact is this government can't even patrol our current fisheries, can't crew our current vessels and is totally ineffective?
Well,
the Honourable Dr Jonathan
actually
Coleman.
what the member's asserting is totally incorrect. As I've said, you know, we can patrol the areas we've got. And frankly, he seems to be the only person who thinks the Kermadec Reserve's a bad idea.
Order. Supplementary question, the Honourable Phil Goff.
How can the Minister's primary answer be correct when he said that the Defence Force was meeting the needs of the Customs Agency when both Customs and Police are recorded in the annual report this year as saying that the Defence Force, the Navy, was not able to meet their expectations for the provision of resources like IPVs?
The Honourable Dr Jonathan Coleman.
On behalf of the Minister of Defence, there's 2 different issues there. The Navy is absolutely meeting their contracted patrol days with those agencies.
Order. Question number 3,